In this video, I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Paper 1 Non-Calculator Summer 2017 Foundation Tier. So let's get started. Question 1. Work out the value of 2 to the power of 4. So if I've got 2 to the power of 4, that means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So I've got 4 2's times together. That's 2 to the power of 4. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So that is our answer. Question 2. Write 7.26451 correct to 3 decimal places. So if I want 3 decimal places, that means I want 3 numbers after the decimal point. So that'd be 1, 2, 3. I'm going to draw a line in there. And if the number after the line is below 5, I leave it as it is. If it's 5 or above, I'm going to round up. I'm going to round it up. I'm going to kick up the number before the line. So I've got 5 or above. So I'm going to kick up the number before the line. So it's a 4. So it's going to go up to a 5. So that's 7.265. Question 3, or 3a. Simplify 7 times E times F times 8. In algebra, we don't write any time signs. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of the time signs, and we can simplify 7 times 8 by multiplying 7 by 8. So 7 times 8 is 56. And then I've got an E and an F times together. If you've got 2 letters times together, you just stick them together. So EF, E times F, can just be written as EF. X times Y can be written as XY. So it's just 56 EF. 3b. We've got X over 5, so X divided by 5 equals 2.5. So you might prefer to write that as a decimal. So X over 5 equals 2.5. Something divided by 5 is 2.5. So if I want to get rid of a divide by 5 in an equation, I can times both sides by 5. So if I times the left side by 5 and times the right side by 5, X divided by 5 times by 5 is X, and 2.5 times 5, that's 12.5. So X is 12.5. Question 4. Write 4/5 as a percentage. So I've got 4 out of 5, 4/5 now, and I need to make it into a percentage. Percentage means out of 100. So I need to make the bottom number, the denominator, 100. So if I times top and bottom by 10, I get 40 out of 50. Then I'm going to double the top and the bottom, so 80 out of 100. So 80 out of 100 means 80%. Question 5. Work out 60% of 70. So if I wanted to work out 10% of 70, I divide by 10. So 70 divided by 10 is 7. So 10% equals 7. And 50%, if I want to work out 50% of 70, 50% means half. So half of 70 is 35. So if I want 60%, I'm going to take my 10%, add it on to my 50%, and that will give me 60%. So 7 plus 35 is 42, and that is 60% of 70. Question 6. Sammy spins a fair four-sided spinner. So there's two B's and a C. So there's one A, two B's and a C. And it's fair, so there's equal chance of it landing on each quarter. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability of getting a B. So there's two B's out of 4, so that's half. So we're just going to mark half. And the second part, mark the probability of getting an F. Well, there's no F's, so it's 0 out of 4, which is 0. Question 7. Fahima buys 2 packets of bread rolls, costing £1.50 for each packet. 1 bottle of ketchup, costing £1.60. 3 packets of sausages. She pays with a £10 note, gets 30p change. She works out 1 pack of sausages costs £2.30. Is she right? So we need to work out how much the sausages cost. So we could, doesn't matter where we start really. So what she bought, she's got 2 packets of bread rolls costing £1.50 each. So 2 lots of £1.50. That's £3. So her bread rolls cost £3. Her ketchup is £1.60, and 3 packets of sausages. She pays with a £10 note and gets 30p change. So if we take 30p off of the £10, it costs £9.70 in total. £10 minus 30p. So we've got £3 and £1.60, and then the sausages. So let's take off the £3 and the £1.60. So let's take off the £3 for the bread rolls. That leaves us with £6.70. And then we'll take off the ketchup. So £6.70, take away £1.60. So if I take off 60p, that's £6.10, and then take off a pound, £5.10. So I've got £5.10, and I know that is 3 packs of sausages. So £5.10 for 3 packs of sausages. Okay, so we could, at this stage, do 2 different things. We could times the sausages by 3 and work out that 3 times £2.30 is actually £6.90. So Fahima is wrong because the sausages, 3 packs of sausages, actually cost £5.10, not £6.90. So we could say she's wrong for that reason. Or we could divide by 3, which is probably a bit harder, and work out what 1 pack of sausages actually does cost. So I'm just going to write 3 times £2.30 does not equal £5.10. So Fahima is wrong. Question 8. So we're going to be multiplying fractions here. So we've got work out 5/8 times 3/4. So to multiply fractions, we're going to multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms. So 5 times 3 is 15. And 8 times 4 is 32. So the answer is 15 over 32. Part B, we're subtracting fractions. To subtract fractions, we need to make the denominators the same. So for the first one, so I've got work out 2/3 minus 1/4. For the 2/3, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 4. And for the 1/4, I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by 3. I'm going to do that to make the denominators the same. They will both be 12 after I do this. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. And 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. So I've changed the question into 8/12, take away 3/12. So if I've got 8 of something and I take away 3 of something, that gives me 5 of something. And the something is called 12ths. So I've got 5/12. Question 9. Sean works for a company. His normal rate of pay is £12 per hour. When Sean works more than 8 hours a day, he is paid overtime for each hour he works more than 8 hours. So for his extra hours, he gets paid overtime. Sean's rate of overtime pay is 1 1/4 times his normal rate of pay. On Monday, Sean worked 10 hours. Work out the total amount of money he earned on Monday. So his first 8 hours is £12 per hour. So 8 times 12. We might want to break that down. So to do 8 times 12, if we do 8 times 10, which is 80, and 8 times 2, which is 16, and add them together. So 10/8 plus 2/8 is 12/8, and that is 96. So he gets 96 for his first 8 hours, and then he's got 2 hours of overtime. 2 hours of overtime. And we need to know how much he gets paid for an overtime hour. So his overtime pay is 1 1/4 times his normal pay. So his normal pay is 12, and we want 1 1/4 of that. So 1/4 of 12. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So he gets 1 1/4. So 1 is 12. His normal pay is 12 plus an extra quarter, which is 3. So overtime, he gets £15 per hour. And he's done 2 hours of overtime. So 2 hours at £15 an hour. 2 times 15 is 30. So he gets 96 for his normal hours, plus 30. 96 plus 30 for his overtime. Add it on, and it's £126. And that's the total amount of money he earned on Monday. Okay, question 10. A farmer has 20 boxes of eggs. There are 6 eggs in each box. Write as a ratio the number of eggs in 2 boxes to the total number of eggs. Give your answer in its simplest form. So the ratio of the number of eggs in 2 boxes to the total number of eggs. And that's 20 boxes. So we've got 2 boxes to 20 boxes. So the 6 eggs, this is irrelevant information really, because if we multiplied both these by 6, we'd want to cancel that back off again. So that's 2 to 20, and we want to cancel down to 1 to 10. Okay, question 11. A sequence of patterns is made from circular tiles and square tiles. Here are the first 3 patterns in the sequence. So we've got a square getting bigger every time. So from 1 square tile to 2 by 2, and then 3 by 3. And then we've got the circular tiles on each edge of the square. So, part A, how many square tiles are needed to make pattern 6? So let's look at the square tiles. In pattern 1, there is 1. Pattern 2, there are 4. And pattern 3, there are 9. So it's 1 tile, and then 2 by 2, and then 3 by 3 in pattern 3. So in pattern 6, it'll be 6 by 6. So that'll be 6 times 6, which is 36. Part B. How many circular tiles are needed to make pattern number 20? So let's look at the circular tiles. In the first pattern, there are 4. In the second pattern, there are 8. In the third pattern, 12. So it goes up by 4 every time. So we need to get to pattern 20. We could just keep adding 4 until we get to 20 times, but it's just a 4 times table. So pattern 1 is 1 times 4. Pattern 2 is 2 times 4. Pattern 3 is 3 times 4. So pattern 20 is going to be 20 times 4, which is 80 tiles. Derek says, when the pattern number is odd, an odd number of square tiles is needed. So for pattern 1, it was 1 square tile. For pattern 3, it was 3. And yes, it will always be odd, because this was 1 by 1, so just 1. Pattern 3 is 3 by 3, so 3 times 3, 9. Pattern 5 to be 5 times 5. Pattern 7 to be 7 times 7. So Derek is right, yes. And the reason is because an odd number times an odd number will always give us an odd answer. So 1 by 1 is 1, and 3 by 3 is 9, and then 5 by 5 would be 25, and so on. So you could say an odd number squared is an odd number. You could also say that. You could say an odd squared equals odd. Okay, question 12. There are only 7 blue pens, 4 green pens, and 6 red pens in a box. 1 pen is taken at random from the box. Write down the probability that this pen is blue. So how many blue pens have we got? We've got 7 blue pens. So 7 blue. Out of how many in total? So 6 red and 4 green is 10, and the 7 blue, 17 in total. So what's the probability of a blue? It is 7 out of 17. Okay, question 13. The diagram shows a tree and a man. The man is of average height. The tree and the man are drawn to the same scale. Write down an estimate for the real height in meters of the man. Right, so this is just a question saying, do you know how tall an average man is? And anything from 1.5 up to 2 meters is acceptable here. So you could pick 1.5 or 1.6 or 1.7 or 1.8. I'll put 1.8, but yeah, anything in between or including those two would be okay. Part B, find an estimate for the real height in meters of the tree. So we have to compare the height of the man to the height of the tree. So if you get your ruler, we're going to measure how tall the man is. So I'm not sure if you'll get the same result here. I've got 1 centimeter tall for the man, and I'm going to measure the tree, which is about 5.5 centimeters tall, probably closer to 5 than 6. So I'm going to multiply my answer in part A by, I'm going to say 5, but 5 or 6 would be okay. So it's only an estimate, so I'm going to say it's closer to 5 than 6, so I'm going to multiply by 5. So 1.8 multiplied by 5, and obviously if you use a different number in part A, you'd use a different number here in part B. So 1.8 times 5, how do we do that? 1.8 times 10 is 18, and half of that is 9. So I'm going to estimate that we are 9 meters tall, but anything, depending on your answer to part A, and whether you use 5 or 6 here, anything between 7.5 and 12 meters would be okay for that answer. Question 14. Year 9 students from Halley School were asked to choose one language to study. The table shows information about their choices. So we've got French 56, Spanish 40, and German 24. So we're going to draw a pie chart for this information. So we need to know how many students there are. So if we do 56 plus 24, that's 80. So plus 20 to 76, and plus the 4. So that's 80, plus 40 is 120. And to draw a pie chart, we need to make it out of 360, because there are 360 degrees in a circle. So how are we going to do that? We're going to multiply by 3. So we're going to multiply all of the number of students by 3 to find the number of degrees we need. So 56 times 3. Now these aren't particularly easy. If you need to write down your working, that's absolutely fine. You should do that. I will do it in my head though. 50 times 3 is 150, and 6 times 3 is 18. So 150 plus 18 is 168. 40 times 3 is 4 times 3 with a 0 added on. And 24 times 3, 20 times 3 is 60. And 4 times 3 is 12. 60 plus 12 is 72. And you can check that you've got something that adds up to 360. Okay, so we've got 360 degrees, and now we're going to draw our pie chart. So I'm going to write down here, so French 168 degrees, Spanish 120 degrees, and German 72 degrees. Right, so that fits on the page. And I need my protractor. So 168 degrees. So I have lined up my protractor. So I'm getting the center of the circle where on the center of the protractor, right there. And I'm going to measure from 0 here round to 168 degrees. So 168 degrees is there. So there's my 168 degrees. And then I'm going to spin around the protractor. And that will be my new starting point. So that's my new 0, which was around there. And I'm going to measure my 120 degrees. So again, starting at 0, going around to 120, which is there. And then if I spin it round again, I should have 72 left, which I do. So I'm going to move that out of the way, get a straight line this time. So using a ruler now, joining up these points, and then we just need to label. So this was French, this was Spanish, and this is German. Okay, Year 9 students from Lowry School were also asked to choose one language to study. This accurate pie chart shows information about their choices. So we've got French, German, and Spanish again. And we can compare that to our one, French, German, and Spanish. Okay, Shamina says the pie chart shows that French was chosen by more Year 9 students at Lowry School, the second one, than at Halley School, the first one. Is Shamina right? Well, what a pie chart shows us is the proportion that chose it. But we don't know actually how many students were at this second school. So if there were only, I don't know, how many students were at the first school? 120 students at the first school. If there are only 50 students at the second school, even though there's a bigger chunk, bigger proportion French, it doesn't mean that there's necessarily more students. So is Shamina right? Well, she might not be. We don't know. We don't know how many students chose French at Lowry School. So yeah, we don't know, so she's wrong. She is wrong. There might be more, but there might be less. Okay, question 15. Here is a triangle and a rectangle. The area of the rectangle, so the area of the rectangle is 6 times the area of the triangle. Work out the width of the rectangle. So it's 6 times the area of the triangle. So we need to know the area of the triangle. Area of triangle. To work out the area of a triangle, you do half of the base times the height, or length times width, over 2. So 8 times 9 over 2, which is 72 over 2, which is 36 centimeters squared. If you did half of the base times the height, that's probably easier because it's 4 times 9, but still 36 centimeters squared. And the area of the rectangle is 6 times as much as this. So area of rectangle, 6 times as much. So 6 times 36. So you might want to use one of the methods of multiplication now. Or we could do 6 times 30 plus 6 times 6. I guess that is one of the methods. So 6 times 30 is 6 times 3 with a 0 added on. And 6 times 6 is 36. So that means 6 times 36 must be these two added up, 216. So the area of the rectangle is 216 centimeters squared. And, well, the area of a rectangle is length times width. So it's 16 times the width. I'll just put 16W equals 216. So the W is, to get rid of a times, we do a divide. So 216 over 16. So we need to do division now. We can do long division, or we could cancel down the fraction. Either way is going to work. So if I half top and bottom, that'll be 108 over 8. Half the top and bottom again, 54 over 4. And again, 27 over 2. And 27 over 2, half of 27 is 13.5 centimeters. Question 16. We've got V equals U plus AT. And we're told U is 1, A is negative 3, and T is half. Work out the value of V. So it's a substitution question. So V equals, I like to use brackets when I substitute. I'm going to change U to 1, A to negative 3, and T to a half. So that gives us 1 here. And then we've got plus negative 3 times a half. I'll leave a plus there. I'll do negative 3 times a half. Half of negative 3 is negative 1.5, negative 1.5. So I've got 1 plus minus 1.5, which is the same as 1 minus 1.5, which is minus 0.5. So V is minus 0.5. Okay, question 17. We've got 5 tins of soup, have a total weight of 1,750 grams. So, I'll just read the question first. 4 tins of soup and 3 packets of soup have a total weight of 1,490 grams. Work out the total weight of 3 tins of soup and 2 packets of soup. Okay, so 5 tins of soup, I'll put 5t, has a total weight of 1,750. So 5t equals 1,750. So a tin of soup, I'm going to work that out by dividing by 5. Divide both sides by 5, which gives me 1,750 over 5. So we could use long division here. We could double top and bottom and divide by 10. Let's give that a go. So double 1,750 is 3,500. 3,500 over 10 is 350. Again, if you don't like doing that, you could have done long division there. So you could have gone 5 into 1,750. And I'll just go through this method quickly as well. So how many 5s go into 1? Absolutely none. We've still got the 1. How many 5s go into 17? That's 3 with 2 left over. How many 5s go into 25? 5. And how many 5s go into 0? 0. So 350. So a tin of soup is 350 grams. And we know 4 tins of soup, so I'll write 4t, and 3 packets of soup, and 3p equals 1490. And t is 350. So 4 tins of soup is 4 350s plus 3p equals 1,490. 4 350s, 2 350s are 700. So 4 350s must be double 700, 1,400. So now I'm going to take off 1,400 from both sides, which leaves me with 3p equals 90. And divide both sides by 3. So p is 30 grams. So a packet is 30 grams. We're not done. We're almost done. We needed to work out 3 tins of soup and 2 packets of soup. So 3 tins and, what was it, 2 packets. So 3 tins, 3 350s plus 2 30s is going to be our answer. So 3 350s, 3 300s is 900, 3 50s is 150, so 900 plus 150 is 1,050. 2 30s are 60, so I've got 1,050 plus 60, so 50 plus 60 is 110, plus the 1,000, 1,110 grams in total. Okay, question 18. Belina has a garden in the shape of a circle, radius 10 meters. He is going to cover the garden with grass seed to make a lawn. Grass seed is sold in boxes. Each box of grass seed will cover 46 meters squared. And Belina wants to cover the whole garden with the grass seed. Work out an estimate for the number of boxes of grass seed Belina needs. So we need to know the area of the circle. And it's an estimate, really important word, estimate. So we don't have a calculator. So we're going to be using rounded numbers in our calculation. So the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So pi times the radius squared is the area of a circle. So the area of the garden is pi times 10 squared. pi times 10 squared for the area of the garden. Okay, so we're going to have to use an estimate for the value of pi, and we're going to use 3. So pi is 3.14, so we're going to use 3 as an estimate for pi, and 10 squared is 100, so that's 3 times 100, which is 300 meters squared. So the area of the garden is 300 meters squared, roughly, and each box of grass seed will cover 46 meters squared. Because it's an estimate question, we're going to round that. Let's round it to the nearest 10, which will be 50. So 50 meters squared. So how many boxes do we need? 300 divided by 50. How many 50s go into 300? So 6 boxes. We'll need 6 boxes that cover 50 meters squared each to cover the whole 300 meters squared. So 6. Is our answer an underestimate or an overestimate? So will 6 boxes actually be enough? Might we need more or less? So what have we done here? We've rounded pi down. So the actual area of the garden is going to be bigger than 300. And we've rounded each of these up. So if we've rounded 46 up to 50, we're actually going to need more boxes. So we have underestimated. So we've underestimated. Why? Because the actual garden is going to be bigger than 300 meters squared. So we've rounded down the area of the garden. Area of garden. And we've rounded up the amount each box covers. So we've rounded down the area of the garden. It's actually bigger than 300 meters squared. And we've rounded up how much each box of grass seed can actually cover. So we're actually going to need more than 6 boxes. Okay, question 19. 19a. So we've got a solve question. Let's expand the bracket first. So we're going to times 4 by x and times 4 by negative 5. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And that equals 18. So we want to get x by itself. We're going to get rid of the minus 20. And we're going to do that by adding 20 to both sides, which leaves us with 4x equals 38. So to get x by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 4. So divide 4x by 4. That will give me x. Divide 38 by 4, which isn't a whole number answer. So if we just simplify this, so half top, half the bottom, 19 over 2 is a perfectly good answer. We could give 19 over 2 as our answer, or if you wanted to write 9.5, you could also give that as your answer. Either one of those is absolutely fine. Okay, t is an integer that's bigger than negative 3 and less than or equal to 2. Write down the possible values of t. So it's bigger than, it's an integer, that means a whole number. And it's bigger than negative 3, so it can't equal negative 3. So it can be negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. And it can equal 2, because it's got a little or equal sign here. And 2. Asmol is paid £1,500 per month. He is going to get a 3% increase in the amount of money he is paid. Work out how much money Asmol will be paid per month after the increase. Okay, so we need to work out what 3% is and add it on. So if I say 10% is 150, 1% will be 15. Because to go from 10, well, to find 10%, we divide by 10. And to go from 10% to 1%, we divide by 10 again. So 1% is £15. So 3% is 3 lots of 1%, which is £45. So we're going to add on £45. So 1,500 plus £45, £1,545. Okay, question 21. We've got a scatter graph. The scatter graph shows the maximum temperature and the hours of sunshine in 14 British towns on one day. So we've got hours of sunshine on the x-axis, temperature on the y-axis. So one of the points is an outlier. So write down the coordinates of this point. So which doesn't fit with the others? It's this one here on 10, 19. So 10, 19. For all of the other points, write down the type of correlation. So it's going up, that makes it a positive correlation. Positive correlation. As this one increases, as the sunshine increases, maximum temperature also increases. So as this goes up, that's called a positive correlation. On the same day in another British town, the maximum temperature was 16.4 Celsius. Estimate the number of hours of sunshine in this town on this day. So we go back to our scatter graph and we need to draw on a line of best fit. So we're going to draw a line of best fit. So we want roughly the same number of points on each side of the line, which is somewhere around there. We don't have to be exactly right here, but we need a line that fits well with all of the points, a line of best fit. So roughly the same number of points on both sides. And we're going to use our line of best fit to estimate if the temperature is 16.4, how many hours of sunshine are there. So temperature is on this side, and we're going to go to 16.4. So there's 17. So these are actually 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. So 16.4 is here. We'll go along to the line. And then from the line, which is there, we'll go down to estimate the hours of sunshine. I've got 12.8, I think, there. So I'll give that as my answer. There will be a range of acceptable answers, but I've got 12.8 from my line. A weatherman says temperatures are higher on days when there is more sunshine. Does the scatter graph support this? Yes. Yes, it does, because in our scatter graph, as sunshine increases, temperature increases. Question 22. Express 56 as a product of its prime factors. So we're going to start with 56 and we're going to break it down until we've only got prime numbers left. So it's prime factors. So 56 can be 2 times 28, and 2 is a prime number. 28 can be 2 times 14, and 2 is prime, and 14 is 2 sevens, and 2 and 7 are both prime. So we could say 56 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. And that's our answer. We could also write it as 2 cubed times 7, but either way is absolutely fine. Question 23. Work out 54.6 times 4.3. So to work this out, we're going to ignore the decimal points to start with, and we'll put them back in afterwards. So we are, in effect, we're timesing 54.6 by 10, and we're timesing 4.3 by 10, and then we're going to undo that later. So 546, so I'll do a grid method, 546 times by 43. So there's other methods of multiplication. You can use whichever one you feel comfortable using. So 4 times 5 is 20, and add on 3 zeros. 4 times 4 is 16, add on 2 zeros. 4 sixes are 24, add on 1 zero. 3 fives are 15, add on 2 zeros. 3 fours are 12 with 1 zero, and 3 sixes are 18. So we need to add all these up. So I'm going to write them in order. So I've got 20,000, got 1,600, 1,500, 240, 120, and 18. So we're going to add up. So I've got 8 in the ones. I've got 4 plus 2 plus 1, so that's 7 in the tens. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 2, 13, plus 1, 14. So I'm going to put the 4 here, carry over the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, and I've got a 2 there. So I've got 23,478. But remember, I times by 10 twice in the question. There were 2 numbers after the decimal points in the question. So there's going to need to be 2 numbers after the decimal points in the answer. So that's 234.78. So in effect, we're dividing by 10 twice now to cancel out the fact we times by 10 twice earlier on. Okay, question 24. So the area of the shape is 10 centimeters squared. Show that x squared plus 6x equals 1. And we're given measurements on the shape. We could use this as a grid method. We can just times the dimensions to get the area of each section. Or we could do an expanding brackets. But seeing it's been drawn for us as a grid, we may as well do this. So this 3 by 3 square, the area will be 9. 3 times x is 3x. 3 by x again, 3x. And the little square down here, x times x, is x squared. So the total area is x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. And that total area equals 10. So we're just going to collect like terms here. So 3x's plus 3x's are 6x's plus 9 equals 10. How can we make it into the form we want it? We'll subtract 9 from both sides. X squared plus 6x equals 1. Question 25. This rectangular frame is made from 5 straight pieces of metal. So we've got 5 on each side. It's a rectangle. So we'll have 5 on the other side. We've got 12 on the bottom. It means we've got 12 on the top. And we've also got this diagonal here. We're being told the weight of the metal is 1.5 kilograms per meter. Work out the total weight of the metal in the frame. So we know all the edges. We just need to work out the diagonal. And this is a Pythagoras question. So if we just look at a triangle, we've got 12, 5, and x. So we're working out the diagonal, and that means Pythagoras. So Pythagoras says that the two short sides squared add up, make the long side squared. So 5 squared plus 12 squared equals x squared. You might see it as a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the two short sides squared add up to make the long side squared. 5 squared is 25. 12 squared is 144. 25 plus 144 is 169. And the square root of 169. So what number times itself makes 169? That is 13. So the diagonal is 13 meters. So we can work out the total length now of metal. So we've got 2 5s, 2 12s, and 1 13. So I'll write 2 5s plus 2 12s plus 13. And that will be the total. I'll put length. 2 5s are 10. 2 12s are 24. And we've got a 13. So let's add these up. If we add up think of it as adding up in a column. So 0 plus 4 plus 3 is 7. And 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. So we've got 47 meters. And the weight is 1.5 kilograms per meter. So we need to do 1.5 times 47. So 147 is 47. Half of 47 is 23.5. So 1 times 47 is 47. Half times 47 is 23.5. So if we add these up, 47 plus 23, that's 70, plus the 0.5, 70.5. Okay, question 26. The equation of line L1 is y equals 3x minus 2. The equation of L2 is 3y minus 9x plus 5 equals 0. Show that these two lines are parallel. So if two lines are parallel, that means they go in the same direction and they have the same gradient. So we need to show that these two lines have the same gradient. So the equation of a line is in the form y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient. So for L1, we can see by looking at it, it's already in the form y equals, and the gradient, I'll put m equals 3. L2, however, is not in the right form. So for L2, we need to make it in the form y equals. So if I plus 9x to both sides, and minus 5 from both sides. I didn't really want to do that in one step, but I wrote an equal sign by accident. I'll do it again. So if I plus 9x to both sides, on the left side, I've still got 3y plus 5. And on the right side, I'll have 9x. And then subtract 5 from both sides. That will give me 3y equals 9x minus 5. And then to make it y equals, I need to divide through by 3. So if I divide everything by 3, I'll get y equals 3x minus 5/3. So for L2, m is also 3. So they've got the same gradient. Therefore, they are parallel. And question 27. We've been given a parallelogram. The diagonals of the parallelogram intersect at O. And we've got O to A is called A. So from O to A, it's called A. From O to B, it's called B. And we want to know, in terms of B, D to B. So we know that O to B is called B, and D to O is the same as O to B. So D to B is a B and another B, which we call 2B. Find in terms of A and B, the vector A to B. So to get from A to B, we need to go down to O and up to B. So if O to A is called A, going backwards along that line is minus A. So we're going to go minus A and then up B plus B. And finally, A to D. So we're going to go down to O and then back down to D. So that's minus A, because we're going against the arrow, minus A, and then minus B, because we're going against both of the arrows. So minus A, minus B.